Hello valued viewers, welcome back to iMUSICWKN-ETC. Our subject today is about the story of Jacob's daughter Dinah being sexually assaulted by a Canaanite man named Shechem, and the subsequent violent revenge taken by her brothers Simeon and Levi against the men of Shechem. Shechem, the son of Hamor, the same Hamor that sold Jacob the field, saw Dinah and raped her. He became infatuated with her, loved her, spoke tenderly to her, and asked his father Hamor to get her as his wife. Jacob heard what Shechem had done but didn't do anything immediately because his sons were in the field. When Jacob's sons returned from the field and found out what happened, they were outraged because such a thing should not be done. Hamor told Jacob's sons that his son Shechem wanted to marry Dinah. Hamor proposed they allow intermarriage between the clans. In that way, Jacob could settle in the land and acquire more property. Shechem offered to pay whatever bride price Jacob demanded. Jacob's sons answered Shechem and Hamor deceitfully, saying they could not intermarry unless their men were circumcised. If they agreed to be circumcised, then they would agree to give each other's daughters in marriage and become one people. Hamor and Shechem thought it sounded reasonable to be circumcised because they thought eventually they would acquire all of Jacob's possessions. All the men, including Hamor and Shechem, were circumcised. On the third day, when they were still in pain from the circumcision, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, got their swords and killed every male in the city. They killed Hamor and Shechem and took Dinah from Shechem's house. The rest of Jacob's brothers plundered the entire city, taking all their possessions, cattle, wives, and children. Jacob was angry with Simeon and Levi. Because of their actions, he knew he might face retribution from the Canaanites and Perizzites, who lived in the land. If they banded together, Jacob and his household would be destroyed. Simeon and Levi's only response was to defend their sister's honor in not allowing her to be treated like a prostitute. If you enjoy watching and listening to our videos, please take a few minutes to comment, like, and subscribe to iMUSICWKN-ETC. Thank you. Genesis 34 verse 1. And Dinah the daughter of Leah, which she bare unto Jacob, went out to see the daughters of the land. Genesis 34 verse 2. And when Shechem the son of Hamor the Hivite, prince of the country, saw her, he took her, and lay with her, and defiled her. Genesis 34 verse 3. And his soul clave unto Dinah the daughter of Jacob, and he loved the damsel, and spake kindly unto the damsel. Genesis 34 verse 4. And Shechem spake unto his father Hamor, saying, Get me this damsel to wife. Genesis 34 verse 5. And Jacob heard that he had defiled Dinah his daughter. Now his sons were with his cattle in the field, and Jacob held his peace until they were come. Genesis 34 verse 6. And Hamor the father of Shechem went out unto Jacob to commune with him. Genesis 34 verse 7. And the sons of Jacob came out of the field when they heard it, and the men were grieved, and they were very wroth, because he had wrought folly in Israel in lying with Jacob's daughter, which thing ought not to be done. Genesis 34 verse 8. And Hamor communed with them, saying, The soul of my son Shechem longeth for your daughter, I pray you give her him to wife. Genesis 34 verse 9. And make ye marriages with us, and give your daughters unto us, and take our daughters unto you. Genesis 34 verse 10. And ye shall dwell with us, and the land shall be before you, dwell and trade ye therein, and get you possessions therein. Genesis 34 verse 11. And Shechem said unto her father and unto her brethren, Let me find grace in your eyes, and what ye shall say unto me I will give. Genesis 34 verse 12. Ask me never so much dowry and gift, and I will give according as ye shall say unto me, but give me the damsel to wife. Genesis 34 verse 13. And the sons of Jacob answered Shechem and Hamor his father deceitfully, and said, Because he had defiled Dinah their sister. Genesis 34 verse 14. And they said unto them, We cannot do this thing, to give our sister to one that is uncircumcised, for that were a reproach unto us. Genesis 34 verse 15. But in this will we consent unto you, if you will be as we be, that every male of you be circumcised. Genesis 34 verse 16. Then will we give our daughters unto you, and we will take your daughters to us, and we will dwell with you, and we will become one people. Genesis 34 verse 17. But if you will not hearken unto us, to be circumcised, then will we take our daughter, and we will be gone. Genesis 34 verse 18. And their words pleased Hamor, and Shechem Hamor's son. Genesis 34 verse 19. And the young man deferred not to do the thing, because he had delight in Jacob's daughter, and he was more honorable than all the house of his father. Genesis 34 verse 20. And Hamor and Shechem his son came unto the gate of their city, and communed with the men of their city, saying. Genesis 34 verse 21. These men are peaceable with us, therefore let them dwell in the land, and trade therein, for the land, behold, it is large enough for them. Let us take their daughters to us for wives, and let us give them our daughters. Genesis 34 verse 22. Only herein will the men consent unto us for to dwell with us, to be one people, if every male among us be circumcised, as they are circumcised. Genesis 34 verse 23. Shall not their cattle and their substance and every beast of theirs be ours? Only let us consent unto them, and they will dwell with us. Genesis 34 verse 24. And unto Hamor and unto Shechem his son hearkened all that went out of the gate of his city, and every male was circumcised, all that went out of the gate of his city. Genesis 34 verse 25. And it came to pass on the third day, when they were sore, that two of the sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brethren, took each man his sword, and came upon the city boldly, and slew all the males. Genesis 34 verse 26. And they slew Hamor and Shechem his son with the edge of the sword, and took Dinah out of Shechem's house, and went out. Genesis 34 verse 27. The sons of Jacob came upon the slain, and spoiled the city, because they had defiled their sister. Genesis 34 verse 28. They took their sheep, and their oxen, and their asses, and that which was in the city, and that which was in the field. Genesis 34 verse 29. And all their wealth, and all their little ones, and their wives took they captive, and spoiled even all that was in the house. Genesis 34 verse 30. And Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, Ye have troubled me to make me to stink among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites, and I being few in number, they shall gather themselves together against me, and slay me, and I shall be destroyed, I and my house. Genesis 34 verse 31. And they said, Should he deal with our sister as with an harlot?
Before we proceed to the next chapter of the book of Genesis, please take a few minutes to comment, like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.
Genesis 35 verse 1. And God said unto Jacob, Arise, go up to Bethel, and dwell there, and make there an altar unto God, that appeared unto thee when thou fleddest from the face of Esau thy brother. Genesis 35 verse 2. Then Jacob said unto his household, and to all that were with him, Put away the strange gods that are among you, and be clean, and change your garments. Genesis 35 verse 3. And let us arise, and go up to Bethel, and I will make there an altar unto God, who answered me in the day of my distress, and was with me in the way which I went. Genesis 35 verse 4. And they gave unto Jacob all the strange gods which were in their hand, and all their earrings which were in their ears, and Jacob hid them under the oak which was by Shechem. Genesis 35 verse 5. And they journeyed, and the terror of God was upon the cities that were round about them, and they did not pursue after the sons of Jacob. Genesis 35 verse 6. So Jacob came to Luz, which is in the land of Canaan, that is, Bethel, he and all the people that were with him. Genesis 35 verse 7.
And he built there an altar, and called the place El Bethel, because there God appeared unto him, when he fled from the face of his brother. Genesis 35 verse 8. But Deborah Rebekah's nurse died, and she was buried beneath Bethel under an oak, and the name of it was called Allon Bashuth. Genesis 35 verse 9. And God appeared unto Jacob again, when he came out of Padan Aram, and blessed him. Genesis 35 verse 10. And God said unto him, Thy name is Jacob, thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name, and he called his name Israel. Genesis 35 verse 11. And God said unto him, I am God Almighty, be fruitful and multiply, a nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins. Genesis 35 verse 12. And the land which I gave Abraham and Isaac, to thee I will give it, and to thy seed after thee will I give the land. Genesis 33 verse 13. And God went up from him in the place where he talked with him. Genesis 35 verse 14. And Jacob set up a pillar in the place where he talked with him, even a pillar of stone, and he poured a drink offering thereon, and he poured oil thereon. Genesis 35 verse 15. And Jacob called the name of the place where God spake with him, Bethel. Genesis 35 verse 16. And they journeyed from Bethel, and there was but a little way to come to Ephrath, and Rachel travailed, and she had hard labor. Genesis 35 verse 17. And it came to pass, when she was in hard labor, that the midwife said unto her, Fear not, thou shalt have this son also. Genesis 35 verse 18. And it came to pass, as her soul was in departing, for she died, that she called his name Benoni, but his father called him Benjamin. Genesis 35 verse 19. And Rachel died, and was buried in the way to Ephrath, which is Bethlehem. Genesis 35 verse 20. And Jacob set a pillar upon her grave, that is the pillar of Rachel's grave unto this day. Genesis 35 verse 21. And Israel journeyed, and spread his tent beyond the tower of Eder. Genesis 35 verse 22. And it came to pass, when Israel dwelt in that land, that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah his father's concubine, and Israel heard it. Now the sons of Jacob were 12. Genesis 35 verse 23. The sons of Leah, Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and Simeon, and Levi, and Judah, and Issachar, and Zebulun. Genesis 35 verse 24. The sons of Rachel, Joseph, and Benjamin. Genesis 35 verse 25. And the sons of Bilhah, Rachel's handmaid, Dan, and Naphtali. Genesis 35 verse 26. And the sons of Zilpah, Leah's handmaid, Gad, and Asher, these are the sons of Jacob, which were born to him in Padan Aram. Genesis 35 verse 27. And Jacob came unto Isaac his father unto Mamre, unto the city of Arba, which is Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac sojourned. Genesis 35 verse 28. And the days of Isaac were 180 years. Genesis 35 verse 29. And Isaac gave up the ghost, and died, and was gathered unto his people, being old and full of days, and his sons Esau and Jacob buried him. Thank you for watching, and come back soon for more videos.